Reddit, what's the worst case of helicopter parenting you've ever seen? My nan used to drive behind my dad's school bus until he was 15. My parents made me go to one specific college so I could stay close and live with them while I went to school. They threatened to disown me if I didn't go there. After a year of being miserable, I finally abandoned them and went where I wanted to go. Far, far away. An ex-friend of mine was absolutely insufferable because of how overprotective her family was. So of course she had no friends in high school, and the mother ended up arranging a meeting with the staff and students in our year to force them into being her friend. I work in special education for preschoolers. I just had a meeting with a mom that was so desperate for her child to have a disability, but the kid is absolutely fine. She has pretty extreme meltdowns with the mom because she is right on top of her all the time. It's heartbreaking because you know the mom cares about her kid so much, but that she's absolutely smothering her. A friend of mine grew up in Arizona but decided to go to college in Oklahoma. So his parents sold their house and moved to Oklahoma so that they could be closer to him. I think his mom visited his dorm every other weekend to do his laundry and bring him food. My cousin got bullied pretty hard in middle school for a school year, so from then on his mom went to school with him and sat in the back of every class, followed him around, etc. This continued through high school. He had zero friends as a result. This was years ago and now he's in his mid-30s. He lives with his parents, refuses to get a job, and has no social life. Honestly, I resent my aunt because she absolutely destroyed him as a human being, irreparably. I can't see how he'll survive after his parents are gone. And BTW, he's intelligent, and was not always socially awkward. He was normal before all this happened. A mother emailed me asking if I had graded their student's essay, and if so, why wasn't it entered into the online gradebook yet. She wanted me to know her student was very smart and would be going to an Ivy League college. My response: are you asking about the essay they turned in today? The essay I just collected from them this morning, 1 hour ago? She didn't reply. I taught at a fancy private school in a big city. $25 k year for middle school. Celebrities sent their kids there, etc. One of my students, a 7th grade girl, wasn't doing well in class. Mind you, this school didn't even give grades, so not doing well basically meant that I wrote some suggestions on her essays as to how she could improve. I was an experienced teacher and knew how to give suggestions while still being nice. The girl gets her essay back and her parents call a meeting with the headmaster and me. At the meeting, they tell me their daughter thinks I didn't like her, and that I should invite her to have lunch with me so she can feel special. The headmaster agrees and tells me to plan the lunch. The next day, I say to the girl, "Your parents and I had a meeting yesterday. I'd love it if we could have lunch together and get to know each other." She declines my invitation. The next day, I'm called into another meeting with the parents and headmaster. Mom is furious because lunch was supposed to have been your idea and now, student, knows we were talking about her. I got a reprimand from the headmaster and was asked to leave a month later. Apparently the parents had a lot of pull and refused to send their daughter to a school where the teacher didn't like their daughter. That's insanely wrong and so messed up for the headmaster to apparently be buddy-buddy with the rotten parents. Sorry. Last week was homecoming and I was driving my friends to take pictures and to dinner and to the dance. One girl's mom wouldn't let her and her boyfriend ride with me, even though I had the room, because she didn't want her boyfriend to kiss her. Ex-boyfriend's mother would read his texts every night, track his phone, and randomly show up to check on where he was once she figured out he jailbroke his phone to fake his location. He was 18 and going to college that year. There's a line of privacy. This mother clearly freaking crossed it, but then she just kept on going. My cousin wasn't allowed to watch The Little Mermaid because of the nude scene. I wasn't allowed either, because of the same reason. My mother-in-law still buys my husband all his clothes, despite the fact that we can't afford it. He's 42. She also calls him at least 1 to 2 times a day to check up on everything that's going on in his life. I could go on, but no. It got to a point that the school had to intervene because a mom went inside the classroom during class. College grad shows up for an interview for an entry-level position with mom in tow and expecting to be there throughout the interview. I heard this secondhand from another counselor at the day camp I used to work with. There was this kid who took a crap and then insisted his counselor wipe him because that's what his mom did. The counselor refused, told him he'd have to wipe himself, described to him how to do it. The kid still wouldn't, insisted on having his mom called. So they called the kid's mom, who came, wiped his butt, and then left. My kid is 2 and is super coordinated. He's not a special snowflake, but he's very sturdy and can do a lot. We're at the park by our place almost every day. There is a rock climbing wall about 5 feet tall. He's had this thing mastered since 20 months. Now that he's 2, I don't bother standing directly behind him. I'm maybe 10 to 15 away. This one mom has a real problem with this. She's got 2 of her own, maybe 3 and 6, and she always stands up really close behind him. The first time it happened I approached, smiling and said ha ha hey, thanks, he's okay, I'm right here, and she was weirdly cold. Since then she does it every time. If she's there, she's right behind him on the climber, like, helping him along. She shoots me these looks and I have to laugh. I've already addressed it. After a few times I said yeah, he's very coordinated with a ton of muscle control. I prefer to take a step back. She rolled her eyes and said yeah, some parents prefer that approach. I took my son to the swing since it's rude to punch the other mommies. Another time she was hovering over my kid and her one kid wanted to go to the other play area. She goes, one sec. We want to make sure everyone is safe, so I do it pointedly, clearly waiting for my son to get to the top. I lost it, but didn't yell. Told her she was making me uncomfortable and to please step back away from my kid who was perfectly safe. She was about to make a scene. I got my son and really calmly said I'm not arguing, stay away from us, and we got home without further confrontation. It's so awkward and awful because she's close to him and I don't trust her, but she comes with kids so I can't scream creep lol. Now when we see her arrive or she's there when we arrive, we turn around and leave. I once taught a boy whose mum went to the dentist to see if he didn't have to go through his milk teeth falling out and adult ones coming in because it looked painful for her snowflake. I dread to think what she was considering at puberty. I was interviewing a guy for a technician job. Resume said he was 22, just out of technical college with a few certificates but no degrees. Cool beans. We weren't sticklers about scraps of paper so long as you know computers. I check everything out. Call his last employer, which was the school he went to. References. Interesting. I was told he was smart and learned fast, but his dad was a pain. Found that odd. Call the kid up. A man rather older than 22 answers. I ask for Nathan and get told this is his father. I can help. I'm calling for the resume he put in with computer hack. Need to ask him some questions. I can answer them. No, I need him to answer them so I can verify what he knows. I know what he knows. Just ask. This goes on for a minute more before I say have Nathan call me back when he is available and hang up. Kid himself calls back. We chat. He seems to know his stuff, so I set up an interview for the following day after lunch. Interview time comes, and in walks a young man and an old man, Nathan and his dad, who tries to sit in on the interview. I look right at the kid and bluntly ask, do you have your own car? He nods. I ask him about his times available and his dad chimes in to answer. I cut him off. I'm asking your son. Please go sit at the front of the office until we're done. The dad hems and haws but goes up front. Nathan seems to be a good fit, but his dad is, indeed, annoying. I told him to show up the next Monday at 8 AM. He would have a week probationary period during which time he'll be paid minimum wage while I determine if we can use him. Monday rolls around. Nathan and his dad come in, and both head for the back. What are you doing? I figured I can sit here and keep you two company. Number. No, you cannot. I finally convince his dad to gtfo. Nathan is picking things up fast. Next day, both come in and the dad walks up to me. I'm insisting you let me stay here. My son needs me around. He told me last night that you were going too fast for him to keep up. I looked at Nathan, who just looked down at the floor. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't seem we can use you. Why the heck aren't you keeping my son on? Because he needs to grow the heck up first. I was looking to hire him. I do not want the baggage he comes with, namely you. Now leave. Because he needs to grow the heck up first. I was looking to hire him. I do not want the baggage he comes with, namely you. Now leave. How to Savage 101. Until I had a mental breakdown and moved out at 21, I was not allowed to have sleepovers unless they were at my house. Mum always came to my doctor's appointments and was horribly offended when I said I didn't want her there. Doctors always asked if I was sexually active and I would have to say no to get her to stop staring daggers at me. Mum would wake up before I left for school in order to approve my outfit. So basically to ensure that I was wearing long sleeves, long pants, and had no indicator of my female figure whatsoever. I was not allowed to go shopping without her or buy anything without her approval. I wasn't allowed to get my license until I was 20. Even then I wasn't allowed to leave whenever I wanted. I didn't drive for 7 months after getting my license. Mum took my phone from me on a daily basis and not only went through it, but texted my friends as me. If my phone or laptop was lying around, you better believe she'd be going through every app and social media platform I had. I was not allowed to date or even interact with guys. Was told many times that I am expected to live with them until they marry me off. Mum would randomly show up to school, college, the mall, anywhere she knew I would be. I was paranoid for years and years that mum would just show up and catch me doing or wearing something she disapproved of. My family fricked me up for years. While waiting for a haircut, a helicopter grandmother was standing next to her grandson while he was getting his hair cut. If I had to guess his age, I'd say he was about 10 or 11. She wouldn't let him speak or make any decisions for himself. He wants his hair like this, and this. Oh, he doesn't want that. The grandson seemed incredibly frustrated. Now that's my handsome grandson. He genuinely looked like he wanted to slap her. At the end, when the lady doing his hair offered him a lollipop, he went to grab it, but the grandmother intervened. He doesn't want it. Come on, Luke, let's go. Your grandfather is already in the car. In general, I could sense that kid's utter frustration and I felt really bad for him. I can't remember how, but during all of this she alluded to the fact that she was now his guardian. This was about 2 years ago. Hopefully things have gotten better for him. I feel so bad for the kids in these situations. Sometimes they turn into little shoots that won't expect coddling, but most times I think it just makes them utterly miserable. Oh boy, let's see here. I was homeschooled and never went to a regular or interacted with kids my own age but a handful of times. One of the few times I did get to play with a kid my own age, a neighbor. I wasn't allowed to say goodbye to him before we moved away in case he had swine flu. I never saw him again. I wasn't allowed in my yard unsupervised until I was 15. My mother would force me to stand still and let her pop my pimples, clean my ears, and shave my underarms. I didn't want them shaved. She also tried to control what kind of deodorant and shampoo I used because apparently everything would give me cancer. No soda for several years. Again, cancer. This resulted in me guzzling it down as soon as I got away. Went through my computer and then confronted me about what she found. The most egregious thing present was Anime P. Accused me of being a lesbian until I caved and told her I was just so she'd leave me alone. I'm actually bi. Did not knock before entering my room until I was 19. Continuously tried to set me up with country boys I was not interested in. One of the reasons she thought I was gay, I just wasn't interested in having supervised dates with church-going cowboys. She's mellowed out a lot since, but my teens were rough. I worked at my university's ROTC office. The amount of parents who call daily asking if their son has been to PT, or class, or having good grades is astounding. Legally, we can't give out that information, but it'd be so great to tell the parents of one of our cadets to frick off and stop wasting my time asking if little Johnny is washing behind his fricking ears and brushing his teeth every goddamn night. Used to work in a hotel and one day a lady and her daughter came in to drop off a resume, except I got the wrong idea because the mom was the one who introduced them and was handling the resumes. I thought she was the one applying. This was the wrong assumption because she angrily explained that it was her daughter who was looking for a job. Well, I tried asking the daughter some simple questions about what she was looking for before passing it on to my manager, and the mom kept answering every single question I asked while the girl just stood there quiet and petrified. I passed it on to my manager and she decided to give this girl a shot. The girl and her mom come in the next day and my manager greets them, but again the mom does all the talking. My manager eventually leads the girl to one of our meeting rooms, then stops the mom from going in, saying the interview is confidential. I'll have to ask you to wait in the lobby, to which the mom replied, no, I have to go and my daughter can't do anything without me around. Well, I guess the mom was right because the girl didn't say a single thing the whole interview, probably thanks to this mom's A+ parenting. Our interviews are about half an hour and this girl's interview was over in 5 minutes. My parents would not let me spend the night at a friend's house until I was 11. Then they had to call the parents of that friend and conduct an interview. The parents were required to call if they took me anywhere and I wasn't allowed to even play in their yard without my parents being notified first. Luckily my friends had really patient and cooperative parents, but my parents made sleepovers a nightmare. I currently teach a girl whose mother has had a massive career change to work in the same school. She's training on the job to be a teacher and essentially is the TAFE for the year above her daughter's current year. She regularly argues her case to the headmistress that she should be my TAE and be in her daughter's class, to enable her to get sufficient experience and time to take the year 6 teaching job next academic year, and therefore teach her daughter's class then as well. She regularly complains that this isn't her forte, desire financial necessity, and others have talked to her about a high school role that reflects her talents from her previous industry, but she is adamant that she must be in school with her daughter. They are both uppity, spoilt B with superiority complexes and are always adamant that they've never done anything wrong. So I was a giant toddler because my parents are giants. I was playing on a 3 and under playground at 2 years old. Some random lady accused my mum of having an older kid on the playground. That I was too big to be 2. No, mum 6 feet and dad 6'6". The random lady said it's too dangerous because I'm giant. Mum replied that I'm too uncoordinated for the big playground. I'm safer here. Random mum demands to see my birth certificate to prove I'm underage. Mum stood up and told her to back the frick off and return to her child. All this was happening as I played alone on the monkey bars, the tiny ones, far away from other children. Good on your mum. Respect others' business and stick to your own. Enlisted in the Coast Guard at 21, so I had the being an adult life skills pretty much down, but there's no shortage of 18-19-year-old kids who don't yet. Send them off on their own with no one to do laundry, taxes, car registration, groceries, and it's a disaster. We had one kid show up who was 18 years old, no car, joint bank account with his parents and no clue. Myself and the other FN took him grocery shopping the weekend he reported aboard. Holy crap. We tell him his fridge has room for about a week's worth of groceries and that we'd meet him at the register when he was done. Dude shows up with 4 packs of Oreos and nothing else. When it comes for him to pay, he calls his mom for permission since apparently she wouldn't let him spend more than $10 at one place. She also used to order him 12 packs of water bottles to be shipped from Staples to the base. Didn't even know Staples sold or shipped water. I have plenty of stories of this kid after being with us for 2 years, but those are the ones that jump to mind involving his parents. Kid's mom wouldn't let him play video games because they'd make him stupid. Ignore the fact that this kid performed the lowest in our group and socially inept wasn't the word for him. Eventually his mom briefly considered letting him play games, but took that back when she found out the characters in LEGO Star Wars carried guns. I live in a very rich, gentrified community, and there are helicopter parents everywhere. Very quiet suburbs. Basically no crime, except for the occasional kid smoking dank. One of my friends is family friends with a girl whose parents won't let her walk 100 yards down the street without my friend escorting her. She's 16. I know a girl who on her vacation in Mexico was driven everywhere by armed bodyguards in an armored SUV, and everywhere she went bodyguards followed. While I mock her, I'm kinda jealous lol. In med school, we all had to do rural remote rotations. My 25+ friend's dad flew 3,000 miles to our city, rented a car, drove her up to the site of the rotation, a city of 60,000 people, drove back, returned the vehicle, flew back. 2 months later, he flew back again and repeated the trip to retrieve her. Same person at some point asked me wide-eyed how I could afford to go to med school if my parents were not paying for it. Sigh. I had a buddy of mine whose mom would drive 4 hours every Saturday to come to campus, take him out for dinner and do all of his laundry. This guy was 21 going on 5. I know a friend that couldn't ride his bike to school because his parents were worried he'd get run over, but there was a crossguard and traffic lights at the only intersection separating him from the school. I worked at a snooty private school in Atlanta and I saw some crap on a daily basis. I was the school secretary, and on the other side of the room was the nurses area. The worst thing I saw was a kid, about 10 years old, that had to come into the nurse's office every day to be fed through a tube. He would come in and act like he owned the place, demanding attention, ordering everyone around and creating a general fuss until he was attended to. Everyone in the office acted like they were afraid of him. I asked the nurse what was wrong with him, and why did he act like that, and she told me that he had mild acid reflux, and that his father was a very important surgeon who was on the school board, who I saw frequently hovering around. I have no idea why a child with acid reflux needed a feeding tube. The nurse hinted to me that the father was overzealous about giving unnecessary surgeries to his family for attention. I can tell you that when that kid came into the room, it was like royalty was entering. It was bizarre because he was so young. I was told also that his dad hired someone to do his 4th grade project for him so he would get the best grade. Additionally, the school lost all the grades for the entire 5th grade and asked me to make them up and give everyone good grades, so I quit. You have been visited by the ingenious Joe. Comment brain so you always see the glass half full. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.